Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Owner's Box. I'm Billy Koch, founder and managing partner of Little Red Feather Racing Club. Joining me alongside of always. Did you switch us?
Oh, you know what it is? It's because I normally am already in the room and then you come in. And so it's like first, second.
It's weird being on this side. I have
Other
no
side.
idea.
You gotta
This
point the other
Michelle
way.
Yu. You know Michelle Yu. You could see Michelle Yu. You see her every weekend at Santa Anita. You see her on European broadcasts around the world. She is terrific. Michelle, thanks for joining us. And yes, I did shave.
You did shave.
I was, when I have the gray, it is old looking sometimes. But
It
now
doesn't look old.
I think I don't know. My kids said yesterday. Truth be told, we all went mustaches last night. We went out to dinner and we all had mustaches. And then I looked at myself in the morning and I looked.
Oh my gosh, that is awful.
I shaved it.
Awful.
So that's the truth. We have a great show. Joe McCloskey is going to join us. They had a huge Grade 1 winning victory the other day with Johannes. I will say he was by far the best looking horse in the paddock that day. I was extremely impressed and nervous about him. Umberto Rispoli, Tim Yakteen, tremendous job by them. What a nice horse Johannes is. We're going to learn all about him. They bred Johannes. I don't know how to say the name of their
Kuyathi.
Well, we're going to find out what the heck Kuyathi means when Joe McCloskey joins us shortly. Michelle, before we do that, I know we have some important things going on. I think we have a sale coming up. What's going on in the world of horse racing?
We do. So, our three things of note actually don't involve the sale, so we'll talk about the sale separately.
Okay.
The first thing is this like crazy news that came out that Louisiana is like reverting to the Stone Age. So they're basically saying like there's no HISA, there's no HIWU in our state. This is what we're going to do. And some of the things that's been championed by some of the vets in Louisiana, some of the things they're going to do is they're going to roll back clenbuterol to a 72-hour withdrawal time. It's currently 2 weeks. And if you're in a state that's HISA controlled, it is 30 days plus testing, plus they have to have a prescription. They can only be on it 60 days total in like a 6-month period or something.
All right. Let's just say that this is ridiculous. Okay. They're just basically separating themselves from the world of horse racing. And, I've been told from people, and I actually talked to Steve Asmussen today to, hang tight. Nothing's been decided yet. But in my opinion, and this is my personal opinion, this is absolutely ridiculous. And it is a step back in horse racing. We are trying like fucking hell to get everyone on an equal playing field and trying to get rid of medication that, it just drives me crazy. So,
well, there's some things like
Louisiana bred.
Look, I'll say this. There's some things like they're going to allow you to use GastroGuard closer to race time. I think that's a positive.
I'm saying as a whole.
Yeah, well, as a whole, look at they're gonna also lower the withdrawal time on injections, which is probably a negative.
You can't kind of back clenbuterol. I'm sorry, you can't.
Or we can, and everyone just gets to use it. I mean, like, the thing is there are some positives, there are some negatives, because while HISA is trying to like regulate and this HIWU, we obviously have seen a lot of bad stuff go on for people that are most likely not guilty. It has been really harsh. And the fact that you are so, just feet to the fire to do this, a lot of horses are not even getting like as basic of a care as they need. I feel like if they need,
I get that. I
take naproxen every night.
I get that, but I think there's other ways than doing it with the way Louisiana just came out and said they were
gunslinging.
What's that?
Gunslinging. And so like in Louisiana is the fairgrounds, which is owned by CDI, and they said they were blindsided. And obviously we have Derby preps down there. You're not going to be able to travel like from a Louisiana track to a non-Louisiana track and feel safe. Right. So I'll be interested to see what happens. But that was the big news that came out this week. I don't know what's bigger, that or that Trump got convicted on all of his charges.
Again, ridiculous. But okay. We're not getting
the second thing of note was we had a really big weekend at Santa Anita, and we had the Gamely, which was won by Anisette on the return as a 4-year-old. We had the Shoemaker Mile, which was won by Johannes, and obviously their owners are coming on here.
Johannes, and I say Johannes. What is it?
Well, I guess we'll ask which one is right. I say Johannes.
Okay.
And then the Hollywood Gold Cup was won by Mr. Fisk. Subsequently, after the wire, Kazushi Kimura did pull up Mr. Fisk and he was vanned off. He said he just felt a little funny and he looked really tired crossing the wire. They brought him back and they evaluated him. He did have a non-displaced condylar fracture. He has already had surgery. He is back in Bob Baffert's barn resting comfortably. He's going to be there about 30 days before they send him out to the farm. And that is standard operating procedure. Generally, when a horse has any kind of surgery like that, you keep them at the racetrack here so that the vets can check them every single day. They can get their bandages changed. They can make sure that they're staying really clean and they're less at risk of infection. And obviously, we don't want to stick them on a van and make them stand on it for a long time going somewhere. So,
have you seen the light up racing stuff that they're doing now where they have a vet come on and talk what a
yes, I've seen I saw Bramlage talk about the surgery on another horse.
It's a really good idea. I kind of like it because all it's doing is educating people, and that's
right.
And I thought about it today, like if God forbid, and it happens, one of my horses have that, like I can go back to that video, and actually, like use it for my own purposes, you know. So I actually thought that was a good idea.
And I think that we've seen, I think all over, Kenny McPeak has been really good for years now. Like when he has a horse grab a quarter or get injured, he's like back at the barn, like, here, this is what happened. This is why the horse didn't run good. Take a look. This is how we're going to fix it, right? And I mean, transparency. And I think that Baffert got a lot of heat for a long time. And look, he came right out. He was doing he was willing to do our interviews right after the race. Afterwards, they showed video of him. They showed him post-op surgery, and he's still getting hate. So it kind of sucks for him, but he's giving us all that we want. And I think a lot of connections are
going to get hate.
I know.
Just part of our world. Part of your world. Sorry.
Ready? Okay, so our last thing of note.
I thought you were going to pick that up from Little Mermaid, but
this?
No, I was
didn't hear the part of it. Part of that world. What would I give? Okay. The last thing of note is that the half-brother to Flightline, his name is Eagles Flight, debuted a scintillating winner at Santa Anita.
Look at this guy. What if Trevor had called the race? What would he have said?
I don't even know.
Here's Eagles Flight.
Eagles Flight. You have to sprout wings to catch him.
I think he would have gone. Flightline's little brother. You are looking at another superstar.
Oh, maybe.
Absolutely scintillating.
So either way, he has had a delayed debut. Right, he's already 3, making his first start. I think that Summerwind and the Hieronymuses obviously did the right thing here and Bill Farish, because they gave this horse the time he needed. As someone that's seen him on the track, he has been mentally immature. He
wasn't on Monday.
No, he wasn't. So when I talked to Costa before the race and I, asked about him, and Juan Leyva has mentioned that he's been a little difficult and everything. He said, Costa told me the last 2 to 3 months, something has just clicked in him, and part of that is time, right? And so they gave the horse the time, and he's finally maturing. And he was still uber green. Now he wasn't bad in the paddock or anything.
He was uber green.
I don't think so.
Handled everything. I think he handled like dirt in his face, and
but when he broke, I thought he was gonna lug into the rail and go back out. When he was behind horses, he was kind of like.
Here's the thing: a lot of owners listen to the show. A lot of people listen to the show.
Let's watch it. Let's see if we can find the race. Let's replay the race.
Okay, while you do that, I just want to talk about something, because I had a 2-year-old that's going to need time. It just happened today, and you get really bummed out. You're like, oh,
one of the 2-year-olds that I like, Billy.
No, one you don't know about. It's a secret. She's actually really nice. Yeah, she's very nice, and she just needs time. She grew really fast. Her bones weren't ready. She didn't have any significant injuries, nothing. She just needs time to grow up. And it's like, even myself, I've been in this game for 50 years, and I get bummed out. Damn it, it's such a bummer. But then you see that a horse like Eagles Flight. Now, obviously, this is apples and oranges, but you see a horse like Eagles Flight break his maiden first asking as a 3-year-old in May, and you're still super excited about it. It just took until May. It's what's the big deal? If this filly that we have comes back and doesn't debut till April or May and then wins first time out, guess what? All is forgiven. It doesn't matter, because that's the excitement of this game. You just have to have so much patience. We talk about it all the time. Patience, 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 patience. How many times am I going to say it? I'm just stalling until you get the video up. But that's
I know. I was having a problem getting the video, but I found it now.
Well, let's not watch it because
hold
we're
on
gonna
1 second. I've got to get through a commercial. It's gonna. I tried to open up my ExpressVet account, but for some reason I couldn't pull up any Santa Anita on my ExpressVet account right now.
That's right. We have coming up Kuyathi. I have such. I'm gonna have to spell this funny.
Here we go.
Athy.
Cuyy.
No, I have to spell it that I sound it. I have to spell it that I sound it. I'm probably saying his last name wrong too.
Make sure I have nothing else going on up here. That's scary.
Officer McCloskey.
Officer?
I think there was.
Officer, dear Krupke. It was kindly Krupke. Officer Krupke.
All right, here's the race.
Okay. Here's the race of Eagles Flight. You got to tell me if you can hear sound because you can usually and I can't.
Yeah. Oh, look at you made it big.
Good choice.
Yeah.
The last one to load is Sully.
Still got a horseback.
All right, but here's the thing. What I want you to do, I'm going to have you fast forward it in a minute.
Okay.
Let's watch the break.
Here we go. So he's here. He's the 2.
To a clean start.
I don't think he's that bad.
Right here. See him. Whoa.
Is the fastest out of the gate. Tour player has good early speed. Here comes Visceral smartly along the inside. And Flight with Honor is up close in between rivals. And comes Sully extreme outside. Santarena is 4 lengths off the lead.
For me, the fact that he was green is a positive. It means he's got a lot of growth to get through.
And a teat line at the back of the field.
I mean, look, like right here, he ran up on horses, right? And then he had nowhere to go. So Flavian like loses some ground, like looking for somewhere else to like take him.
3 of them vying for command. Sully is forced to go 4 deep.
And then here he is. He's going to come on the outside right here in the green cap right here.
About 4 lengths off the lead. He's 1 from the outside, threading through traffic. Though he's got a clear shot now as the field turns for
and then look how wide he comes. Can you believe this?
Eagles Flight is coming after him with
like
6
wider
of a mile to go.
And see here he's kind of like lugging in a bit, like so Flavian has to angle him out.
Eagles Flight straightens up though and
and then here he lugs in again.
Pole, and the hype is real.
Okay.
Eagles Flight strides out beautifully to score by 3.
I just think that he was green. Obviously, he is still uber talented.
Okay. Yeah, I would take out the word uber and just say yes, he was a little green, a little experienced.
Okay, little green.
That's what I will agree with you on.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, little green.
All right.
Ickle bit green. Okay, so he was really cool. We'll see where he winds up down the road.
We have a sale coming up before Joe comes on.
So we've got 2 sales. So we've got the Phasic Tipton Digital, which just opened up today, and then we've got the June OBS sale.
That's a big sale.
It's a good sale, especially if you didn't get something bought at Timonium. It's like one of our last sales that there's a breeze up for, or is our last sale there's a breeze up for.
Yep.
Good horses. Kentucky Derby winners have come from the June sale. Some of these horses might had like a little issue before. They might have just needed some time to grow, a little bit more of a late bloomer, but I feel like there's still horses to be found at June. So we should definitely get on someone from OBS next week to talk about it.
Our consigner.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we have someone. We'll think about.
Maybe you should get John to come on.
John Dowd?
Yeah.
Oh, he would be terrible.
Are
you kidding me? He'd be so nervous. He'd be terrible.
I love him so much.
Admittedly, he would be awful. He's a sweet man, and he's awesome at horses, and he has great opinions. He has strong opinions, which are awesome, and knows how to pick out horses. But he on camera, nope. That's not his thing. And he would refuse to do it. His daughter did give me a really cool Breakers hat because she works there.
Yeah. Like the Breakers?
The Breakers, like the golf course.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and it has a B on it, so we call it the Billy hat.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
All right. Well, let's have a quick little breakerito right here. Okay. And we'll just wait for our guest. Oh, you know what I should do in the meantime?
What?
I should just read our ad.
It's
about OBS. Don't miss the 2024 June OBS sale. It's a 2-year-old in training sale. Horses go under tack June 4th through 9th. And then the sale is June 12th through the 14th. OBS June graduate Golden Sense, the sire of the Kentucky Derby winner, Mystic Dan, is represented, as well as Bernardini, Blaine, Classic Empire, Constitution, Dialed In, Leames, Matt McLean's Music, Maximus Mischief, More Than Ready, Munnings, Nyquist, Uncle Mo, and Vino Rosso. For more information, be sure to check out obssales.com.
Very good. That was a good reading of all the stallions. Was there one stallion that you read that you were like, ooh?
I think all of those are pretty established stallions. I am really into trying to buy like a first-year stallion because that's generally what we can afford.
Totally disagree. That is ludicrous. You can afford anything you want. All you have to do is keep raising your hand.
Yeah, until the end comes when they bring you the check.
I gotta do workout.
I feel good about that.
All right, let's take a break and we'll be right back with Joe. All right, back here on the owner's box with our very special guest today, Joe McCloskey. Now, here, help me out because I've been butchering Cuyathi. Is that right?
Cuyathi.
There you are, Michelle. You nailed
it. Cuyathi from Cuyathi LLC. Joe, first of all, before you even get started, congratulations on an incredible weekend winning the grade 1 with, now, is it Johannes or Johannes?
It's Johannes. It's
Michelle, that again.
I'm 2 for 2.
She's unbelievable, Joe. She's killing me today.
Yeah, I know. It's my father's middle name.
Well, there you go. Oh. That was our first question. Like, where'd the name from? Before we do that, we're going to talk Johannes. I said it right. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into horse ownership originally and the breeding program.
Well, it's actually pretty simple. I mean, we started with a very defined budget. You have $150,000. So $50,000 for our first horse and $100,000 for training fees. And then
when was this? Like, what was this
10 years ago? So
10 years ago.
So then,
and how long was the $100,000 supposed to go? Like throughout the entirety of his career?
Correct. And so 10 years later and $2 million later, we're here.
Yeah, but you have a horse that might be worth more than that.
We're counting on it, Billy. We're counting on it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What went in? That's an interesting thing. What went into that? Obviously, look, budget is budget. I get it. But like, what went into that? Hey, we're going to go spend $50,000 a horse. We're putting some money behind it. How did you decide that? Did you sit down one day and just say, this is our plan?
Yeah. I'm a business person and, run big companies. And so you got to make sure that in the real world, if you spend $150,000 on a piece of machinery, you better get a payback or else they're going to find somebody else to do your job. So I figured I'd take the same approach, except this is about as far from real business as it can be. So we said, hey, $50,000, that should get us through the first year, really, is what we thought. And we thought if we had some luck, we'd be able to get some purse money and kind of, expand on it. But, as luck would have it, you kind of get there, you get the bug, you get into it, and then you figure out that maybe we should have bought a bigger horse or a better horse or a better sire. So we started going down that road. But Cuyathi, obviously, the first horse we bought, and the name of our LLC really is the one horse that we said, hey, we just want to continue to have, her in our stable, along with another. We have 2 brood mares, but basically we said, let's just go down and see if we can breed, because they said to, as we got into it and we learned more, racing is tough. They said breeding is ridiculously tough. And so I said, let's jump into breeding then, because we might as well. Full gamut.
Both just go in the deep end, Joe. Why even go in the shallow end?
We did. We dove in.
And so what was the genesis of Cuyathi, the broodmare? Was she one of the first ones you bought?
Yeah, and not to get you guys too freaked out, but she is the first one we bought, and it was
was the $50,000 horse.
Correct.
Oh wow!
I'm out.
But there's more of a story to it, and you'll start to learn more. But we were very specific when we went to Keeneland to buy the horse, and my wife had a vision that we would know which horse if we found some indication of a heart. And so there's like
a marking.
A marking. And so we had a couple horses, and we had it on Owlick, and then we go, okay, we lost that one. And so the trainer's looking at us now like we're really crazy. And so finally Cuyathi comes by, and curiously she goes, look at that chestnut. And on the inside of the leg was a perfect heart.
Whoa.
We got it for $50,000, right on the money.
No way.
I know you can't see my arm, but like there's
chills. I've got chills.
Look at my arm. Wait a second. Who was the trainer?
That's awesome.
At the time it was Kitchenman.
Bill Morey.
No, Adam Kitchenman brought us.
But Bill Morey trained her, didn't he?
Correct. And then Bill Morey trained for us. Now we're with Tim.
That is such a wild story. Like that is. And is your wife like? Is she kind of a psychic? Like, does she do stuff like that?
Did she pick the breedings too? Like I gotta know that. Who picked the breedings? Was your wife like, I'll know what stallion's the perfect match?
She actually did. Actually, we both did. The Nyquist, that we had 2 brood mares, and so we said, let's do Nyquist. And we're from Detroit, by the way, and so he was a Red Wing player. Helps. So we go, okay, you don't need a lot of, you need some idea. But basically we said, let's just double up. And we did Nyquist with Reiki Baby and Nyquist with Kuyati, both of our first brood mares. So we just doubled down on Nyquist. And, that's kind of how we did it. And yeah, she actually looks at them all. We get some insight from others, but basically at the end of the day, we pick, the ones that we feel are the best.
Does your wife have a horse background?
No, neither of us do. No. When we moved 10 years ago, we were sitting in California across from the track. We literally live across from the track. And we started going over there. We met a couple people, and next thing you know, we met a trainer, and next thing you know, we were at Keeneland. So that's how it all happened.
So quickly, and you're not even smiling about it. You're very matter of fact about it. Like, this is an amazing story, Joe. You know that, right? This doesn't happen.
No. I know it's believe me, we're very blessed. Very, very blessed.
That's wild.
Okay, so Johannes is her first full, right? So
correct.
when did you think this is a good horse?
Well, interesting. Johannes, first of all, went out east and talk about ownership. And one day I get a call from Billy Morey, and we had 2 horses with him. And he says, Joe, I got bad news. We got a fracture on one of Reiki Baby's horse, and the other horse is, doing okay, but so. And at that point, it was one of those phone calls you never want to get, but we prepared everything. But I said, we're just going to bring him back to California where we're at so we can see him run. So that's, we were on dirt. We didn't really have a good shot there with Billy. And, obviously the first grass races, when we said apparently he likes grass because he did very well. So at that point is really when we really knew we had something.
Joe, when a lot of people have been on our show and we talk about barrier of entry, you jumped right in the game 10 years ago with not a lot of knowledge. This is kind of a 2-parter. Sure. First of all, how was the barrier of entry for you? Obviously, you've been extremely lucky, and you admittedly so. But correct. What would you suggest to an owner, a first-time owner that's kind of getting into the game, that may be something that you learned?
Well, I think what I would recommend to somebody is to kind of get involved with an organization, actually like Little Red Feather or other ownership groups, that they can at least get a sense of what's going on before they take that step. I mean, we're reasonably intelligent people, but it took us, out of the 10 years that we've been in it, I think the first 5 years we were trying to figure it all out. Right. So it's good to understand and learn from somebody, and you got to trust them. That's for sure. But then it's a tough game, but that's what I would say would be the best thing to do.
Talk about your relationship with Tim Yakteen and how that came about.
Well, actually, that's a good question. I actually, one of our friends is Ryan Carpenter. He's a good friend of ours. And
yes.
I talked to him this morning. He's the best. He's just
one of the best surgeons, the best veterinarians out there. And we sat down with them. We trust, Joe and Ryan totally. And so I said, I'm looking for a trainer that is going to take care of the horses as much as we want to take care of the horses. And he gave me a list of trainers.
Carpenter's like, let me get my vet bills out.
Yeah, trainers. Tim was on there, and we connected with Tim, and then we actually went away from Tim and went back out east for maybe a year or so, and then we came back to Tim. And the term I coined for Tim is you need to have, a lot of people say you have to have patience in the business. The term I coined for him was glacial patience, because it's unbelievable.
Joe, you have no idea, but we literally just talked about patience before you came on. I said it like 35 times. So that's a great segue into patience. And look, it's true. We just were talking about it. You're talking about glacial patience. How is one supposed to get into this game, spend the money that you've spent, and then still have that patience where you're just like, oh man, we had a setback here, we had another setback here. It's okay. This is a really good horse. I mean, Johannes was amazing, and then took most of his 3-year-old year off, the second half off.
Well, Billy, on that, well, first of all, let me answer your question. I think patience has to be balanced with faith, and that you have faith in your horses. But the thing that you just touched on, I'll give you a good example. We came out of the American Stakes, and if you watch the American Stakes out in Kentucky,
terrible trip.
Yeah, horrible trip. Umberto is the first time he's ever apologized to us. We go. He said he watched the trip 50 times on the plane ride back home. And I said,
oh yeah, he wasn't happy.
But when we got back here, Tim looked at the horse. Ryan looked at the horse. He said, "We're good to go." And Deb and I said, "No, you know what? Let's take a scan. Let's do a new scan and see. I want to be sure that we can have a campaign going." And sure enough, he had just a small bone bruise that it didn't show up on any of the, morning trotting and everything. And that was painful, because that was like, then we flew him back out to Kentucky so he can rest. And then, it was like 8 weeks or 12 weeks. And then it was like, okay, I think we can do it now. We flew him back here. And then when Ryan did another scan, he goes, you're way too early. We need another 12 weeks. So, sorry. But because that particular issue, of course, it has to be 100% cured. If it's 98, it'll come back to you.
It'll just come back. Yeah.
So anyway, that's the story there. But sometimes owners have to take it in their own hands to spend the money to protect their investments. But also, that's part of the faith part of it. You have a good horse, so let's not just keep running it. Let's be sure of it.
So now, had there been calls even prior to this weekend, people wanting to buy into him, wanting to buy him, wanting?
Yeah, and he's not for sale. I mean, not for sale. We've had plenty of people call. We don't really look for partners, only because we want to do the right thing for the horse. We want to do what we want to do when we want to do it. And we don't need to, ask any permission anywhere. So yeah, there's plenty of people that are interested, both in the both brood mares actually, because we have another one that Mendelssohn Bay back in Dubai actually got a grade 2, a group 2 win. But the point being is that, once you lose that control, you kind of, you lose it. So we'll see. I mean, it's money's money, but at the end of the day, it's all about the horse for us.
Oh, and Joe, I heard breeding is really hard on the stallion side too. So maybe you should get right into that.
Just jump in.
I'm about done, Michelle. We'll take it this far.
Can you tell us a little bit about the experience just from this weekend? Because when he returned to the races, he was just so phenomenal. Obviously, I worked very closely with Millie, and she was nervous. I was like, I'm not even nervous for you. I've been watching this horse work. He's going to run so good, and he ran as advertised. And then, coming back and waiting for this spot, like what was it like?
Well, first of all, as you know, it was the 11th race, which is the worst.
Oh man.
So
Billy was in the first and the last.
Yeah, I was there. It was horrible.
So it was a long day. It was a long day for us, but we knew he had the ability. But when you have the American turf back from Kentucky in your mind, it's like, you never know. So just to put it in perspective, I even bet him a win in place. I wasn't sure that anything could happen, but the point being, that's what kind of gets in our mind a little bit. Is obviously you have to have a good trip. If we had the trip, we knew we were going to do okay. Obviously, between your horse, Billy, Goliad, and then Du Jour and Easter, I knew it wasn't going to be easy. I mean, it wasn't like a slam dunk at all. So we were. And when the call came out that we were 7 lengths behind, I got a little nervous there.
They were rolling though.
Yeah, they were rolling.
Yeah, no, he ran a beautiful race. I have to say, I saw him in the paddock, and he looked awesome. I said it to Michelle. I've already said it. I mean, he had his big forelock, and he was just walking around. I mean, I remember seeing him at the American Turf, and it's almost like a different horse. He really grew up, from that 3-year-old, 4-year-old year. I mean, he's a different animal now. He is mature. He's big and strong. And I mean, this is just a compliment. I don't even have a question. He looked fucking awesome. Sorry about this.
No, appreciate it. And Billy, that's what we saw. That's what we saw. That's what Tim saw. I mean, we saw when he came back after his layoff, it actually helped. So, I mean, there was a silver lining there, even though it was 11 months.
Now, are the Kuyathi and the Reiki baby horses your only horses, or have you branched out?
No, that's it. That's as far as we're going to go. We're, those are our first two horses. So Reiki baby, she was a smaller Curlin filly that, when we first got into it, a couple bone chips, there was not going to be any problem. Of course, there was a problem, but anyway, but we bred her, and she's had some good luck. So, we see her as, we'll continue to breed. We just bred her back to hard spun. And like I said, Maxfield, we just bred back Kuyathi to Maxfield.
Wow.
Now, I've noticed you've gone every year to a different sire with Kuyathi, but not back to Nyquist.
Well, we couldn't get into Nyquist this year. I went back to Darling. They told me, he was trying. He goes, Joe, I just can't. And it wasn't that.
And then you give him a grade 1 winner.
Grade 1 winner.
But yesterday I talked to him. I said, save us a spot for next year. He says,
there you go.
Absolutely.
I can't believe that.
And
that's
these names, so wait, I want to go back saying Johannes is named after whose middle name is Johannes? Your uncle? Your father.
Yeah.
And then what is Kuyathi?
All right. So back to the heart and everything.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
It's an acronym for call upon your angels to help you.
Oh my God.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So okay, here's my look at my arm again. Wow. And this is your wife who thought of this?
Correct.
Is she from Detroit as well?
Yeah, we're both from Detroit. Matter of fact,
we're in Detroit. My wife grew up in Royal Oak.
Yeah, no, she's from Grosse Pointe. I'm from the other side of the tracks in Roseville, Michigan.
So how excited were you guys for the Lions?
Yeah, it was very exciting. It doesn't happen that often. I forgot that they were a football team.
I have to say, and this is kind of for Michelle and Joe, because you've had this success with Johannes, and there's another horse that runs for you recently that is pretty good too. I think a 3-year-old.
A Sea Dancer?
Sea Dancer.
Yeah, she's running Saturday.
That's Johannes' sister then.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. And it's like you have such distinct silks. Michelle loves talking about silks. You have these pink and purple. I assume that's your wife as well. And I want to hear the story there. But like certain people make good silks that you can that stand out, but also have a certain level of professionalism, I will say. Like when I see your silks, I'm like automatically think, okay, that horse has a chance. These guys win. And I think that's really cool. Where did the silks? I'm assuming it was your wife. It was not
you. You nailed it, Billy. She designed them, and you'll notice the stars, of course, and you'll also notice the halo over the sea, which is back to the angel aspect.
Wow,
so
it's cool. I almost now I feel like I should redesign our silks, Michelle.
No, I love your silks, Billy. Your silks are some of my favorite silks. You can't redesign them.
I appreciate it.
I will be upset.
All right, Joe. So
what's next for Johannes? I mean, what's the ultimate goal with him?
I know. I already know already.
It's got to be breeder stuff, right?
Well, we like to, not get ahead of ourselves, but first of all, he came out of the race in great shape, which is good, very good. And then I think we're going to look at the Eddie Reed coming up, and then the City of Hope Mile. I mean, that's the winning you're in. Right. As luck would happen, I think that was a winning you're in last year in the in the Shoemaker. Yeah. So they changed that, but it would be nice to be able to pick 2 more races up and see how we do. But we're still talking to Tim to figure out if there's any other options.
The Eddie Reed is going to be one of the greatest races ever. You realize that, Michelle? You know who he's going to have to face?
Who are you going to run, Balnikov or GFP?
And GFP. Both of them. I don't want to run against Johannes. I just saw him.
I wouldn't want to run against Johannes
either. I don't either. It is nice, Joe. We don't talk about jockeys that often, but let's talk a second about Umberto Rispoli, because he's gone through a lot in his life. He ended up in Southern California. He came in with a splash during COVID and like dominated Del Mar, and then kind of went a little cold, tried to go to Kentucky, didn't work out. There's one thing about Rispoli, it's his passion and his love of these horses. Joe, talk a little bit about your relationship with Umberto.
Now, it's funny, even today, as I surprisingly rewatched the race, and if you take a look at how much he loves those horses, I mean, that to us is a connection. I mean, we're pretty good judges of character and individuals, And even though he screwed up the race in Kentucky, I just know he was the type of guy that, you know, takes care of the horses, and he loves those horses. He says he loves this horse. He says his son loves the horse, and you know, it's a great family too. But he's a smart guy. He's articulate. He listens. Not that I can tell him anything, but I mean, he listens to me. But at the end of the day, you nailed it, Billy. At the end of the day, it's his love for the horses. If you notice in the winner's circle, I looked over to him, and he planted a kiss on Johannes's face for I think it was like a minute. I go,
he did. He held him. He like came up and like smooched him, and then he like petted him, and then he like kissed him again.
Yeah, and I said, okay, there you go. But
and I think he whispered something to him. I don't know, it was thank you or like good, like he was talking to him.
But that's the character of an individual that you want on your side, and that's really what we deal with, is character all the time.
Well, we appreciate your character, and we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show today. Should we have your wife on next time?
Yeah, I just
mad right now?
I just heard her whisper no.
Just come into the frame for 2 seconds so we know what she looks like. So when we see her,
she's actually sitting on the steps, so I can't do that.
She wanted to listen. She was eavesdropping.
Well, hey, man, honestly, from all of us, congratulations on your big grade 1 win. We can't wait to see you at Del Mar, even though we're going to try to beat you. We're big fans, and obviously we appreciate the time you spent with us today.
All right, you bet. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right,
thank you so much.
Thanks, man. Thanks for calling in. That was fun.
That was so great. I loved it.
I only got the chills twice. I mean, seriously.
I know. I didn't know that whole story. I am like, seriously?
That is amazing. It's an amazing story. It's very cool, and we actually provided our audience, Michelle, with something they didn't know today, which is nice. Which I like doing.
Very nice.
So, all right, Michelle. Well, thank you, Joe. What do we have coming up at Santa Anita this weekend?
Okay, so coming up this weekend at the Great Race Place, we have a lot of really good races, including the Honeymoon and the Triple Bend, which if you went back to Calbred Week, Big City Lights scratched out of the Thor's Echo, where he would have showed off with the Chosen Vron, and he winds up in the Triple Bend. We also have the Dragon Boat Day, which is both Saturday and Sunday. They're going to have bands, they're going to have karaoke and face painting, everything in the infield. They're going to have dragon boat races, which I don't know if you guys know, but you're in the dragon boats, but they race on land.
Really?
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay.
So, big weekend. It was actually, if you guys came on track last weekend, by the way, thank you. It was packed. It was such a great vibe. It was like great weather. The food was awesome. Like it was really vintage Santa Anita.
It felt back a little bit like Santa Anita.
Yes.
Maybe we're picking up some momentum as we head into Del Mar. Hopefully these last, 3 weeks at Santa Anita, we can pick it up on the weekends with the good weather. I think the good weather really helps. And I think having cards like we had on Monday on Memorial Day, where that card was just stacked. It was hard. There were long shots, and it was a lot of fun. It was fun to be out.
There were some crazy long shots, right? It was a great day. It was great. I loved it.
You are the best. We're going to let you go because I know you're having a crazy, crazy day. And
oh my gosh.
Joe McCloskey from Kuyathi. Kuyathi? Did I say it right? Kuyathi. Mm-hmm. Congratulations, Johannes, a big in the Shoemaker Mile. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Go to the OBS sale in a couple weeks in June, and we'll see you next week here on the Owner's Box.